Hey, what's going on, everyone? It is David Palmer, the Leo King, and I am here at the High Vibe TV studios here at 11:37 p.m. Pacific time on March the 5th of 2020. And I wanted to do this video because, well, we all know these are extreme times right now. And I feel that the build up to this full moon that comes on Monday, at the same time, Mercury stationing as it's retrograding. So it's going Mercury retrograde station to a Mercury station direct after the full moon, late on Monday. That I think that this is such an important time for people to realize that, yes, this is a lot of extreme energy going on, but we need to, as a collective right now, understand this energy. And I've gone extensively through a lot of it through Deep Astrology this week. Of course, on High Vibe, every day I go through the energy, every day, the weeklies. But I feel that we really need to take a moment here as a collective in this video for me to put out to people to understand that all the things that we're seeing in the outside world right now, it's about how we handle it on our inside world and how we shift and understand things from the astrology perspective, the God perspective. Because I think that right now we're getting way too much from a human crazy standpoint. And I think that what's happening right now is it's disrupting the collective consciousness. It's breaking apart the collective. It's hurtling people more and more away from understanding the perspective of what's really going on and losing the actual truth of what's going on. And in this video, it's not going to be talking much about at all about the reality and what's this and the reason why that's happening and but reconnecting you to just let's go to this astrology and let's see what's going on. Because this is where people freak out a lot. This is where people, in my opinion, honestly lose it, because this is a time where people can lose their minds. People can go a little bit psychotic. And it's very important to have a grip of information and of truth so people are not getting lost and going into that energy and going into that space. Because this is not a time for us to get lost in what ifs. We need to remember that this is a time where it's like feels like a movie. But the whole question is, how real does the movie get? How real has the movie been in your life this whole time the movie's been playing lately? It's a big question. There's a lot of people in this collective. It's not like it's, a handful. It's a globe full. It's an earth full. It's 7 billion full. And so all you need is a small amount in the collective to start to freak out. And what does it do? It becomes a tidal wave. It becomes the ultimate disruptor of peace. Becomes the ultimate disruptor of remembering what is above is of below. But what below, if you go in your normal day-to-day life around the globe, even in this room that I'm in right now, I don't see a lot of that movie playing out. Remember that we're all in Pisces. We got the Sun and Neptune in Pisces that are meeting up. We got a full moon in opposition. We're gonna go through this. Of course, you know me. I ain't gonna do a live with you all and not like go deep into the charts with you all and like start to show you what the hell's going on. You know that we don't do that here at highvibe.tv. You know that we bring it all the way. I ain't gonna just, show up and just talk and just peace out or whatever, like I'm going to show you why. Because this is a very important moment for us. And there's a lot of beauty all around. And this is what's got my head twisted right now. My head is twisted because the illusion is winning. And I am really upset about it. I'm really upset. But at the same time, I'm upset at myself that I have fallen for the illusion at moments. But then again, this is where we are at. We are at a time where we are all learning about this. We are all at a time of learning how to get out of illusions. We are learning to not get stuck in the movie. That is not the movie that we want playing. This is not the movie that we chose to play. This isn't the movie that even God chose to play, to be honest with you all. But maybe God chose for some other force out there to play this movie that we're all at in order for us to wake the hell up and not be scared and to remember where the real movie is always playing, the best movie of all, which is your own unique, beautiful story and movie, and this collective having all those unique stories come together. And remember that, but what this is doing is stripping people away of their unique story and gathering everybody's unique, individual, beautiful soul and turning it into very, very minimally even being remembered as unique, but whether or not you're safe or not safe, whether or not you are okay or not okay, whether or not you're on that side or this side. And that's just not how this is not the movie that God intended to play. This is not the history that we want to repeat ourselves. Because it's very easy to get lost into this movie right now. It's a gripping movie, I'll tell you that one, right? Like, wow, what force has created this movie is very, very good. I'll be honest with you. Holy shit. Before we go into these charts, I'm just going to have some little comedy here because you all know I love to have comedy. I fucking love comedy and I love making people laugh. One of my buddies came here. He just had back surgery and he needed to pick up something. And he just kind of showed up at the last minute. And he was with a couple friends of his. And we were talking about the events of the world today. And by the way, I'm not going to mention any of them because it is dangerous now too in this world. And so and if you're all on High Vibe, because I am right now broadcasting on High Vibe on the apps and on the website and so forth. But last night, Craig and I did Full Disclosure. And on that show, Craig and I can go fully and talk about whatever the hell we want because we're not on YouTube and we're not on social media. And, you know, some of the things that you say now, you're done. Like, you can lose your channel. So this is why you're seeing more and more people not come out. And I don't know if you noticed, but you're seeing more and more. And I don't even want to start to say some of the wrong trigger stuff, but you can't put certain stuff out there right now or you're done. Let's just say that. You're done. The wrong word, the wrong thing, the wrong subject, and violation of this, and you are off, and the video is gone, and your channel is gone. Like, that is the world we're at right now. So, in that show, which you guys, if you're not part of High Vibe, you should join it. But in that show, I talked about how on Tuesday night after Deep Astrology, I was ready to go home, and I come here, and I hang out here in the new High Vibe Lounge a lot. We watch content out of here. Craig and I are going to be doing a cool show out of here. And lately I've been making this my desk. I've been actually hanging out here and doing readings for people. And I don't know, I just needed a change. You know what I mean? Like when you're at a place for years, I just needed a change. And I just needed something different. I needed to not be in my office for some reason. And I just needed to be more in a lounge where people would come and hang out and have a good time and watch content and yada yada. So anyway, I'm supposed to go home. Well, I'm very mercurial. I'm very, like, I like to get to the bottom of things. You all know. I mean, even with astrology, I take it so fucking deep. I'm like, oh my God, right? So imagine me trying to figure out all the state of the universe right now in the world that we're being told is the world, right? So, of course, I go way deep. I go super deep into all these crazy places. You know, the places that not a lot of people know about. to get information. And I start hearing stories and I start reading stories about stuff we're not hearing about. That puts me in a panic place. So much of a fucking panic that I literally stay here all night on the computer and fall asleep on the couch bed that's here and don't even go to my house and sleep or nothing. And I wake up to Craig when he went, well, actually I was already up. I talked to an astrologer that I will not name. And we talk about things because I'm like, I just had a really rough night, man. I'm like, I'm freaking out. Long story short, Craig looks at me and goes, are you all right? I'm like, no, I'm not all right. Because I got lost in a lot of these crazy stories that are going on right now. And you have to remember that this is a time where the craziness is everywhere. But we can lose ourselves in that. So not only are we already losing ourselves in a crazy story that's being told by the M&Ms, that's going to be my new code for where you see your information normally, if you can do it in your head. Okay? And when you go off the M&M and you go into the dark web stuff and the dark realms where you could see all these other things, there's even more craziness about it all in there, right? Okay? So you're already like, it's kind of like saying, please make me crazy schizophrenic, and can you then get the scarecrow guy from Batman and have him spray that crap in my mouth like 5 times? I would like 5 sprays. Really not fun, okay? So we all do it. I'm not trying to tell everybody here like that I'm some guru or that anybody I know has just transcended this all. Sure, there's a lot of unknowns, but I think that we all have been victims to taking precautions, extremes, and fear and our comfort levels to the craziest extreme places and lost it. We've all lost it a little. And I'm here to remind us that it's okay that we lost it, to show you guys here today why we did and how to bring us back out of it smoothly, and how to not allow not only yourself, but those around you. And it doesn't mean that you have to start, I don't know, going around and telling people how to live or what they should be thinking about. But just realize that over these 3 days, this Friday, this Saturday, this Sunday, coming into this full moon Monday with Mercury station, it is going to be Wild West of crazy. And it's going to either A, if you already thought you already had reached the crazy train all the way, now take you on the biggest, craziest boat out to the middle of crazy ever, or you are going to see through and get back to the true divine message of the universe and God and release yourself of that crazy story, that crazy movie, and truly release. Okay? So, trust me, I mean, it's not an easy thing. I'm sitting here like freaking out for days. I didn't go home. I slept here in this room. Hid my jewel. You know what I mean? Like all night, freaking out. Like, am I gonna be all right? Is this? You know, and some of the stuff out there, I'll be honest with you, I'm even hot. I got the heater on in here. There's no need for it. But it's like, it freaked me out. Not what's out there in the media, but what else is being said that's underneath there. And I know a lot of people are trying to put a lot of other stuff out there, and oh my gosh, man, let me tell you. So, long story short, my buddy was here. I have to get back to the story. So my buddy comes here, and this was just like a couple hours ago, brings these 2 people over, and I'm like, we're talking about all of it, and they see I have like prepared food and stuff like that, like storable food and all that. But long story short, I'm like, hey, you guys want to see the truth about stuff? And I'm like, I'm going to just test this theory as if I am a producer creating a horror movie right now. I know that sounds fucked up, but they got it at the end and they laughed with me a lot. So they sit down and they go, I'm about to show you guys some stuff about what's really happening out there. I know exactly what's going on. So I show them all this crazy stuff that I found way deep in the internet about, let's just say, assumptions of what's going on, because that's all it is, right? And out of nowhere, I'm not even going to say it on here because I'm not going to put out that idea into the consciousness. Put it that way. It's that bad of an idea. It makes what we're seeing out there look like a fucking wedding recital. Okay? Scariest shit I've ever read in my life and seen in my life, okay? And so I show it to them. I read them the stuff. And my buddy is like, I can't handle this, dude. I gotta leave. This is too much. And the two people that he was with, they were like, oh, we can handle anything. Like, oh, we'll probably love this. And even them was like, they were laughing though the whole time. They're like, this makes a horror movie. There's nothing scarier than this I've ever seen in my life. I'm like, right? I'm like, so I'm like, you might as well just enjoy the, every second left that you got, right? So long story short, some of these stories have been debunked lately by people, right? And so, right when my buddy's about to freak out and leave, I go, hey, bro, hold on 1 second. And I show him, like, no, look at this. It's debunked by this and it's debunked by that. And then, and the two people he was with, they had never been here before. And so they had just come to this lounge, and then they just came through. And so they see the artwork coming in here. They see the offices, but they don't even have any clue that there's a full-blown studio with all the sets that you guys all watch the shows on and all that. And so I'm like, yeah, I just produced a movie for you all. Just the best horror movie I ever have. And then I walk about, and then they see the studio, and I'm like, that's what I actually do. And they were like, oh, my God. So that is what is going on to all of us right now. Why? Well, let's take a look here. Oh, which chart? I think I might have, is that Saturday? Friday? Here's Friday. All right, okay. So, as we're coming in here to Friday, I might have taken a chart for tonight. No. But here, we'll take Friday. Some people are up late. Some people are on Friday. But you gotta remember, this is Friday Pacific. So this is 10 a.m. Pacific Friday, okay? Well, you have to remember that. Look at this. Wow, Sun and Neptune conjuncting. Owie, mama. Remember, Neptune, this is an antenna. Okay? Let's just for 1 second with Poseidon. Right? Okay? It's an antenna. And then what's interesting is when you look at Mercury right next to it, right? There's some similarities about Mercury. Both antennas. Both deal with information spreading. Although this antenna definitely deals with frequency. Okay? Because it really actually looks like a TV antenna. It looks like, well, even if I think of like old Disney stuff, I guess you could say, like if I were to think of, I don't know, like, let's think of like Sleeping Beauty for a second. Maleficent, and let's do her with, like her staff. She uses a crow on her staff, of course, but she also has a ball on it. But, her whole thing is when she is using her dark magic on people, she is like, it's all about having a staff. And it's all about how it's used. And if you notice in any movie, anybody doing any of the dark shit out there, it's like without their staff, they're nothing, And look at the way she turns it, right? The same way that if we look at Poseidon, there we go, Poseidon. and we look at Poseidon and how he uses his staff. I mean, there's a lot of circular motion with the ocean, right? So you gotta remember, like, there's a tidal wave that's just coming at people like crazy. What would Poseidon be without a staff? Probably nobody. Probably a nothing. And if you ever notice, there's just nothing but this like great imagery and this great, expression and using the water and using this energy of Poseidon that Poseidon uses to push that. And the reason why the glyph for Neptune is Pisces and Poseidon is because of the Poseidon staff that he has, okay? This trident is a crazy one. And it's how, even in this picture, it's kind of interesting, like the powers, like, that's what it is. Or it reminds me of, in Aladdin, when Jafar, right, uses his staff. And what happens when the snake eyes go out? The Sultan wakes up, if you don't remember. Right? Oh, yeah. That's Neptune. That's how it works. It's not fun when you wake up and you realize that that's the way that the cookie's really crumbling in life. Right? I mean, let's be honest, even the way that I right now am using media, I put lights, I got different camera angles, I show you the astrology, right, in a chart. I could even throw you for a tizzy and come right here with me. But there's the way that you can create the light, the colors, right? So that's the beautiful part of Neptune. But the negative part is what is coming off of that frequency that is happening in everybody's lives. And that is being emoted from who is using the frequency, right? So if we take a look again and we come to Neptune and the Sun meeting up, it's happening with Mercury here, which again, very similar energies. Both have the cross because why? Why is that cross here? And there's something about Neptune and Mercury that have something in common, in my opinion, is that they are both neutral planets. Meaning, we have the benefics of the beautiful, of course, Venus and Jupiter. In Vedic, they love the moon as a benefic. And then we have the two malefics, which are Saturn and Mars. But why is Mercury a neutral planet? Well, because it's got to look at both sides. So if we were going to go benefic and we were going to go malefic, okay, you'd have a table, right? You would have Jupe, and you would have Venus. Doesn't matter the order. And then you have Mars, and you have Saturn. But the reason why Mercury is considered a neutral planet is because of the cross and the head and its little antennas, and there you got Mercury. And it can cross over. If Mercury is with Jupiter, it's positive. If Mercury is with Venus, it can communicate the good things it likes. If it's with Jupiter, it could see things big. But when Mercury is with Mars, it can be harsh and yell at somebody and be really mean. When it's with Saturn, it could be restrictive and it could be cold, and it could also be strategic and plan in malefic ways. Well, the other planet that has a cross in it, but with two as well antennas, but let's add that third one with the antenna, is it gets confusing when you add that other antenna, which is down the middle, which you don't know which side is it really on in a weird way. Somebody could be looking benefic, but really be malefic. Somebody could be malefic and look benefic. It's confusing as hell. And I like how somebody in the chat said closest to the sun and furthest from the sun. But although, I'm sorry to say, I am an astrologer, and don't ever forget about Pluto. Like, Pluto is real. Why is NASA more obsessed with Pluto than any other planet lately? Yet they don't consider it a planet. All the pictures, even the 3D models of the mountains on Pluto just came out recently. And actually, there was just this just came out in the last day. Mars rover pics, the 2020 ones, like, see Mars like you've never seen it before from space.com. Yeah, here we go, right here. These are the new pictures of Mars. These are the highest pictures that we've ever seen, the most clear supposed pictures we've ever seen. Ironically enough, Mars is going to be what's going to be part of this show for the next couple weeks here, and after this Mercury comes out of retrograde. It's pretty damn clear. Looks like the Mojave Desert to me. Looks like I'm ready to go jet ski racing, just missing some water. But as we come back to the astrology here, in this next 3 days, from Friday to Saturday to Sunday, the sun is on its deep approach to Neptune. And this is our soul. Remember that. This is your unique soul. This is the sun. Don't forget. And it's going into Poseidon's trident energy, into the deepest part of the wild oceans. And you got to remember that this is what's been crazy, is Neptune and Uranus making, which you can see right here, is called a semi-square. There's a 45-degree angle, right? So that's half of a square. Because if you were to get Neptune at 18 Pisces, which you can see Neptune like, well, let's take this chart for example, right? It's at 16-degree rising Gemini, right? So that's a square that comes all the way to here. But a 45 is like half of that, right? And when you look at Uranus here, and you just count 43 degrees. Or sorry, 45 degrees. That's it. So with 18, you got 12 degrees. Then you go through the 30. You got 42 and you add 3. That's 45-degree angle. Now the good news is that we're almost coming off this Uranus Neptune semi-square. It was all last year. Let's have some fun. You guys want to have fun with me? Let's have some fun. I'm here to calm people's shit down. I'm going to say this to camera because I really just want to say this. I am here to calm people's shit down. Okay? Let me just calm you down for a minute here and realize that you have been in a fucking hypnotic spell that is crazy for a while. And it's breaking apart. It's not done. We're going to see other parts of it continue. But remember, astrology is going to help you remember the dose of truth so you get out of the hypnotic spell, all right? So let's go to just this time last year, just for shits and giggles. Exactly, Neptune at 16. There's Uranus right there, right? So now you back up Neptune by 2 degrees and you back up Uranus by 3. That's 44. That's actually a build up to 1, right? Neptune direct, Uranus direct. And that's at the beginning, and that's when Uranus, remember, look at this. Just how funny was this, days? Just the prior days before was Uranus exactly a year ago. God, I love when this shit happens. It blows my mind. Exactly a year ago tonight that I'm doing this transmission was when Uranus came into Taurus. So it's been 1 year that Uranus has been in Taurus the whole time. Okay, because in 2018, Uranus came into Taurus in May of 2018. It went into the summer retrograde, and then it came back during the Venus retrograde in Scorpio in 2018 of October, November. It came back into Aries. So this has been in 2019, of course, right? To now, Uranus has been in Taurus for 1 full year without ever going back into Aries. And Taurus is where we have stability. It's fixed earth. It's a place where we find our pleasures in our life. It's my sprite. It's how I enjoy a hit of nicotine. It's all these things that we enjoy, that we feel pleasure about, where we feel good. It's physical too. But when you get Uranus in Taurus, which is technically in modern astronomy, and there's a lot of astrologers out there lately, and I don't know why. But I'm not here to have a battle with astrologers. I'm here to unite with astrologers. But there is the battle out there that no outer planet should have a ruling energy over anything, which I don't believe that's true. I've actually found through the thousands and thousands of readings I've done that the outer planets, especially through my own chart, that the outer planets do rule houses, one, and that the outer planets do have essential dignities, that they do have placements where they are dominant or they are weak or they are at fall. I'm sorry, I just don't understand. So Uranus is weakest in Taurus. It makes sense. Uranus is an air sign. It's ruled by Aquarius. It wants to connect to everything, and it wants to be free into the universe and go off in a spaceship and be up in the air. But what is Taurus? The most fixed earth sign. What is Aquarius? It's a fixed air. So they're both fixed signs. And Taurus is the most heaviest of all the earth signs because it's fixed. And Uranus it can't just free itself because it's got an earth and it's got physical energy. And so it's like a sentinel, I say, from the Matrix. It's like, trying to collect and if we go from a conscious standpoint, Uranus in Aquarius, or just Aquarius itself, is the ruler of connecting of the people. And when you've got Taurus here, everybody's got their own values. Nobody can connect in the way that maybe is all the same way, right? There's no way. You're not going to get everybody to like the same shoes. You're not going to get everybody to like Sprite. You're not going to get everybody to like a hit of a Juul. Somebody might want a hit of this and they might fucking pass out or they might have a horrible day. You know what I mean? They'd be like, that's horrible. I don't like that. Some people like Androids. Some people like iPhones better. Some people like their hair cut off. Some people like God knows what. But at the end of the day, doesn't mean we can't connect as a people, but it's very difficult when Uranus is in Taurus because what happens is the collective starts to see more of, well, that person's that party in politics, or that person, I don't value that so much. I don't like the way that their health is. They eat at McDonald's, or that person has too much green juice, or that person is this. And that's the problem with Uranus and Taurus, is it is at fall position. So you have a fall position collective. Now, I could just take you back to life with Uranus and Taurus for a minute here, because I will be on air here to give you this message to wake everybody up, to not have us go through any more collective crap anymore. I'm sick of it, including myself. I don't want to go through this shit no more. I had to go through a lot of clarity. And you know what? Sometimes it takes weird things. Believe it or not, my step-uncle died today. And I don't even want to talk about it, but it's like I went through a family thing today and I'm in terror, it's like there's a lot there with my family going on right now and all that. And, I just, for my stepmom and and my step aunts, and it's just, my dad, it's a lot. And, there's just a lot going on, and I just want people to, really feel better in their lives, So let's go once. Sorry. Okay, so here's 1934, Uranus and Taurus. All right. 34 months. Okay. Uranus comes back into Aries. So 1934 is a little bit like 2008 and 2019. Okay? With Uranus. But it's in 35 when not only do you get South Node in Cancer, so you get the nodes, right? In opposite form, but they're still in Cancer and Capricorn like we're in now. But you do get that Uranus and Taurus that says I'm going to stay here. And at the same token, you have to remember too that you got Saturn right here at 6 degrees of Pisces when Uranus comes into here. And so we're dealing with Saturn and Pisces, but we got Saturn that's like, oh, I'm going to try to meet up here with Pluto. But now you just start messing around with the years, right? And you start going into it. And you start to see, like, did Uranus have a semi-square? It did. It had a semi-square to Saturn in 35 and 36. Now, the collective had the same issue, but with Saturn, not Neptune. Not so much of confusion with deception and with frequencies and so forth, but with Saturn, real life hardships of feeling like the magic is gone. Or that the craziness is there, because if let's just look at like 1935, right? Amelia Earhart, first person to fly solo from Hawaii to California. It's before she did the bigger flights. Nazi Germany, Adolf Hitler orders reinstatement of the Air Force, the Luftwaffe, in violation of the 1919 Treaty of Versailles. So this is the buildup of World War II starting to come up, right? And then in England, they're coming out with radar. But let's look at that date. What do I have on the date there? I've got April 9th. We start seeing a lot of that semi-square action all through April, May, March, April. Iran requests that its name be internationally adopted to the country in place of Persia. It requests to change its name from Persia. Dust Bowl. Black Sunday. The Great Dust Bowl storm in the United States hits eastern New Mexico and Colorado, western Colorado the hardest. It was made famous by Woody and in his Dust Bowl ballads. So the Dust Bowl, Black Sunday, the Great Dust Bowl happens with Uranus and Saturn in semi-square, with Uranus exactly at the degree it's at right now, getting a semi-square from Neptune in the same position. We're just like maybe a degree off here with Saturn over here at 17 and not 18 with Neptune. But I'm sorry to say, the collective was going into a very similar situation just with Saturn. So Saturn's not so much a confusing element with Neptune energy, which is a lot more like hypnotic. Even though there is a little bit of that, because what we're in Pisces with Saturn here in the 30s and 35, okay? But there's a great dust bowl. There was just a tornado here in America, in Tennessee, that just wiped out a bunch of people. Nobody seemed to be freaked out about that. More people are paying attention to something else that we all know what we're talking about. We're not even afraid, like, oh, that's normal. That's normal. We've seen that one before. It's what's this movie bringing these new things that are weird that I don't understand. Because when you're dealing with Neptune and you're dealing with Uranus now in a semi-square, okay? Everybody is bugged out by the weirdo. The weirder it is, the weirder the weirder it looks, the weirder we're more hypnotized. The more normal it looks, because we have been all in the collective. We've already gone through a Uranus and Taurus with Saturn semi-square in Pisces. That we've already dealt with a weird physical reality, but maybe it wasn't so weird, bugged out like it is with Uranus and Neptune of the outer planets. Because at least with Saturn, it's the last planet we can see with our eye. It's not an outer planet. It's got a physical attribute to it. So a lot of it was more of like the physical element, was like, you see, get the Dust Bowl, sure. Which was actually a pretty big deal. But you also do get, in Nazi Germany, Hitler announces the reintroduction of conscription to the, what's that, the Wehrmacht? The Unified Armed Forces of Nazi Germany from 1935 to 45. It consisted of, so basically, this was the military power that came in. Yeah, and they worked with the SS and so forth. All right. No big deal. Just some Uranus and Saturn at the exact same degrees as now. Semi-square stuff. No, that's just all. That's all it is, everybody. Okay. Because let's look at the months. Let's take that to there. Oh, is that a south node exactly where the south and the north nodes are right now? Pretty much. Ooh, it is. This is June. Right. We got this. 4 May and June. Got Mars and the Sun there. You got Uranus at 6. We got Saturn back here. So that 45 is still going on. Now it's technically 1 degree. It's 46 degrees, but Uranus will retrograde, so it will come back. And when was this? This is May? Huh. Yeah, of course. Sun and Mars. Semi-square Uranus, Saturn. First nighttime Major League Baseball game is played between Cincinnati Reds. This might be the first Major League Baseball game to be played with nobody in the seats. I know that's already happening in Japan right now. That's the whole weird thing. Okay, with Saturn, it's like we're going to make the physical aspect of a light. But I guarantee you, which is kind of ironic, as baseball season's about to start here in America, and if they don't bring people to baseball games or people don't go, it'll be the first time people are watching baseball with nobody in the crowds. Doesn't mean that baseball isn't being played, just people are watching it with nobody in the crowds. Oh, eventual Babe Ruth Hall of Famer appears in his last career game against the Phillies, playing for the Boston Braves. Forgot. I don't know why I'm thinking about this right now, but it's almost like, what is it? I think there was a lot, in football, right? It was like Tom Brady. Is he going to play? Is he not? Is he done? Is he whatever? Maybe. You never know. I think they said that he might come back, but you never know. Here we go. Here we get to some M&Ms. That's the name I'm just going to say. M&M. Mass M. You know what I mean? Mass M. 20th Century Pictures and Fox Film become 20th Century Fox Film Corporation. Now, during the Uranus and Neptune semi-square of 2018 and 2019, what happens? Walt, who's gone, company purchases Fox for $71.3 billion to purchase of the film and TV assets held by 21st Century Fox. Man, Now it's 21st. They just changed it because, of course, we changed centuries in 2000, but it's the same fucking corporation, right? Sorry. The company behind everything from alien movies and everything, but what did he leave out of that deal? I don't know if y'all remember what he left out of that deal. So he got Disney got FX, Fox Networks grew. 20th First Century Fox had spun off to Fox Television, News, Fox Business, especially the sports, FS1, FS2, the Big Ten. What is that? Is that November 17th through April? The early information? And then, okay. Then the Department of Justice gave antitrust approval to Disney under the condition of selling Fox's 22 regional sports channels within 90 days. July 25th, 2018. I'm telling you, I told you, May of 2018 is when Uranus went to Taurus. China regulators approved the Disney-Fox deal. Fox Corporation officially becomes a standalone publicly traded company separate from 21st Century Fox, making Fox Corporation the owner of the assets that were not acquired by Disney. To keep Fox News, that's the main one. So, all that's going down, but Fox News is kept, if you don't remember. But, where is it? But why did that happen? Let's just get off this for a second. Why did that happen? And why am I trying to connect everything right now to this time in the 30s to now? Again, we're talking about M&Ms, right? M&Ms? What came out after this merger? And what's all over this? Oh. Star Wars got bought earlier than that, but, by Lucas. But to get Marvel and to create a major Neptunian place that had it all, because let's be honest with you, we all enjoyed, especially I'm born in 84, so I'm not a millennial. We all loved Disney stuff growing up. But these millennials got way more into the Marvel stuff, got way more into all that other stuff. So Fox had a lot. Plus, they had the number one running show of all time, which is The Simpsons. And they had studios that were doing movies that, when you buy Lucas, okay, that's a very unique thing, and it's kind of a niche thing, but it's doing the Star Wars thing so you can add it to your thing. But the main thing is to have who is the biggest broadcaster of information and news and all these things, and to put into the consciousness of everything, because this is my theory, and I'm going to kind of jump now to the theory before we even show you all the rest of the chart stuff, and why I'm giving you guys a 3-day 72-hour window here of preparation and all this stuff is because, let's be honest, I'm going to be frank. Every movie we've watched since children, which if you think of the whole entire 20th century, ironically enough, that was the name of the corporation, 20th Century Fox, one of the biggest of all time. Are we seeing the movies that are playing because the collective has been watching movies and people have been... So we'll take an example of this. This is what I'm talking about here. I don't want to say the name, but how in the hell did this happen? How? 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 The exact same thing 15 years earlier on a cartoon manifested in the reality the exact same way. What my whole entire reason of doing this video is, and I know, you know what, as an astrologer, I'll be honest with you all, like, I'll be real, okay? Like, I'm an astrologer, so I go off the astrology, I go off that, and I'll be honest, I've never been really into this new age thing as far as, like, you create everything in the reality based upon what's on your inside all the time. Now, I think that, you know, there's a lot of credit to that place. But I think what I'm trying to say, where I'm actually giving credit to, is we all need to now 100%, because of all the movies we've watched, and let's be honest, the movies over the last 30, 40 years, or maybe even, I don't know, I can't believe it's 2020, so let's just take since 1950. Or even the 60s had some cool movies and they were still chill, but once you get into like the 70s and they start putting horror movies out there, and they start putting like, you know, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, you start getting Night of the Living Dead, which is one of the first horror movies. It was black and white, and that actually was about zombies. I mean, I'm sure you guys heard about the whole Resident Evil thing and the Raccoon City whole thing and the connection to what we're talking about in the world, okay, all that stuff. People start tripping. I start showing you this, like, how in the hell, like, I mean, like, come on. I mean, you can't, I mean, it's like too perfect. I mean, I just don't. I don't understand. But now I do understand. I do understand now from an astrological standpoint that with Neptune ruling movies, creativity, all these things, the collective, enough of us, remember, I mean, I remember I'm born in 84, so you have to remember that, like, I went and saw Titanic, you know what I mean? Like 3 times. I went and saw all those the biggest time of movies was the 1990s, okay? With blockbuster hits and money and all that stuff. And the most extreme we had ever seen in our lives, part of the 80s too. And then even the 2000s, the most extreme we had ever seen. And then now we are flooded in the 2010s into the 2020s here with it not being so much about movie theaters and individual movies and how that goes. It is flooded now with whatever you see on that tube and whatever you see on all these, you know, these networks like Netflix, all this stuff. You are just flooded and downloaded with so many shows, so much information. And the collective right now is broadcasting all those things into reality in a weird way. The movies are broadcasting and using humanity to broadcast the shit into reality. And, you know, I'm just going to say something that I find really weird, too. You know, this is what's crazy. So, you know, you know me, I'm just going to be real as fuck, everyone. So, like, I can't believe, like, on dating apps, okay? I don't have it anymore. Of course, I deleted that shit. But fucking, you literally will see club or Netflix and chill, right? Okay? People more than ever now. Do you even remember the whole Game of Thrones thing of 2019? And everybody, like, I've got to watch this. Talk about being hypnotized and also let down. I mean, let's be real. Like, that was just a waste of a time of a season. Except for, I thought the dragon scene at the end was cool, but not the one where he's burning the city down, but where Jon Snow kills what's-her-face. Because she was a bitch. But that's the problem, though, is the fact that we're in that space. We are in that space. Another thing too is like there's like look at like video games. When I played Nintendo, you know, it was like I was playing Mario Brothers. You know what I mean? Nintendo 1 in '89. I got it as 5 years old. Now you can go on there and be like shooting up and killing, and this is gonna happen, and oh my god, right? So you gotta watch as like, and then look at the movies. They all started very, you know, like, you know, the older movies, like they had an art, they had about all these things, but you got to all be careful now, because we all have to be careful as a collective of what the fuck we're watching and what we're gonna go play out and create reality, because by just watching these movies now, by just watching these things, you never know. Out of nowhere, you're going to go create fucking all that shit. And there's something that we are being bombarded more ever than the M&M, ever. Whether it is from news, whether it is from a movie, whether it is from a TV show, whether it is from whatever. Even on what you're watching this on right now, probably. All of it is bringing up like that movie, this movie, that movie, and throwing it up into the fucking universe and into this reality and playing out, and it makes people freak to watch it because they're part of transmitting it. And the more that you choose to be under that spell, because it's easy to break it out. Okay? It's super easy to break it out. And I know that sounds crazy, but I think it's crazier to not break out of that and to fall into that. It's easy, or you just got to be aware of what you're watching now. Like, you know what I mean? I know that's hard, because that's the greatest addiction of all time. Now, some people are like, well, I don't ever watch TV. I don't ever watch the movies. I don't ever watch any of this shit. But you have. Even if you go walk around, somebody's gotten some stuff. I like how somebody put just cuddle and sleep. Or, you know, look at truth books, read truth stuff. Or if you're going to watch anything, have it be from a place where it's awakening, or it's doing something, or you're learning, or you're doing something, but about God or the universe, or, you know. But I think that what's happening now is we have to get out of these stupid spells that are being spelled upon us by Neptune. And I know it's hard, but that I was on Shaman Derek's podcast weeks ago, and it was a really good one. And I was telling him about how, you know, like LA, of course, being here and being a spiritual person in LA, and like, you know, it's important for spiritual people to try and get into this M&M to at least give a different perspective, because enough people are not gonna not keep watching, right? But, you know, that's why I built High Vibe, like, and why we're here at High Vibe to do this work, because I saw it when I did Rising Through the Darkness, and I talked about, and you guys can all watch, it's free, Rising Through the Darkness. I called all this shit out. Of course, I didn't call it what we're being heard, but the astrology did say this was all going to happen. And I did say it would happen. And I did say it on every deep astrology for the last 6 months. You can go watch it. I say there's a PLAGUE coming. And everybody thought I was crazy. And the whole community just looked at me like I was a fucking hype man. And I don't think you all know how hard it was for me. I was just saying this to somebody today. Like, do you know how hard it was for me for the last 2+ years, counting down days, going, I am not looking forward to January 2020, because I know what's going to happen. I know it's going to happen. I know it's going to happen. I was counting it down like, well, I still got 18 months left. I got another 12 months left. Okay, we're at 6 months now. Shit, we're at 3 months now. That's going through my head every night before I go to bed. And 4 years ago in 2016, I did a whole entire movie lecture called Age of Deception. Because if you remember that, as the buildup of Uranus coming into Taurus was South Node in Neptune and Pisces, with eclipses in Pisces for those 2 year, that 2 year cycle. That was pretty extreme, and that was pretty wild. We actually had our last election in America during South Node Pisces square Saturn in Sag. But I recommend everybody go watch this movie. I mean, I literally, Age of Deception, astrology movie. It's a 4-hour movie and covers the story and the breakdowns of time, Christianity, talk about some flat earth stuff, ages, all this stuff. Like, it's, I look back and I go, what the hell was I, like, it's everywhere. I mean, here's an old tweet from me. I don't want to review. Won't show it. Of course they won't. Oh, here we are, yeah. I mean, I literally was pushing this September 21st, 2016. I really have, I'm going to just be real. I've tried my hardest for so long. And I know a lot of people watch me for a long time and just think, that guy's just fun and crazy and he's a funny guy. Or he does astrology crazy. And then I know there's those out there that actually go, this motherfucker's dropping the truth. But I know I have a whole character thing going down with the Leo King. But to just take the character down for a minute, I'll take the character off. At the core of my heart, and the reason why I do this work, I know it looks like I do it for fame to some people, or I've been accused of doing it for views or subscribers on YouTube. I could give a flying fuck about that shit, to be real. Because my most passionate stuff I've ever done in my life was Age of Deception, was rising through the darkness and meeting people and having people in person, was touring the US in 2018. Because astrologers don't do that. Astrologers are not going out and doing this right now. And I'm like, let me just kind of like lead the way, because astrologers, I think, can save the world and help people save this world right now. And it's not like I'm going to do it by myself. There's no way. But this is where it's at, folks. Like, are you going to keep falling for all this anymore? That's what this full moon and this Mercury retrograde asked. Are you going to just keep falling for your own illusions in yourself? But not only that, the ones that are in the outside world and the way that it's trying to break the collective and how it's trying to break the deep like truth within you to the connection to the divine, and not trust the divine, but trust the M&M. Like, let's just see what's trending right now on Twitter. I can't even believe it. It's right next to us. Of course, you know what? Oh, trends for me. I don't want to see trends for me. I want to see, like, the Twitter trends itself. Guess they don't do that. I guess they do it based off your own stuff. I don't even know. Ain't equal, Captain Hook, Hillary Rosen. Like, what the heck? Jiminy Christmas. It's just like crazy town. But this is crazy town right here. Uranus, semi-square Neptune, and the sun that's meeting up on this full moon. So let's go forward here. Let's look at Saturday. We're really damn close here because the sun now is exactly semi-square over. Joining the party with Neptune. It's about a degree off. And this Mercury retrograde at 28 degrees stopped. You gotta remember that's what I'm trying to tell you is you got Mercury stopped. So our brains, and especially in Aquarius, about trying to understand and how to put all these pieces together. And then, 2.5 weeks ago when Mercury went retrograde, you have to remember it happened in Pisces. Like, it's the fall position. It's not a good position for Mercury. It's the worst, and it retrograded. So, this has been a time where it's like, if you're falling for it all right now, like, worst time to fall for it because it's all not what you think it is. And I think a lot of it is like, people are losing it. And then when Mercury goes into Aquarius, people can lose it in the fact in retrograde of like trying to figure out the most complex, crazy problems in the whole entire world and don't find a solution and just start to go even deeper into finding it. Like how I went deep into the World Wide Web to find out information that I really did not want to know and really disrupted me. And this Mercury retrograde should be used about turning your mind off for a second that you don't need to solve the complex problems of the world. Now, it might seem like I'm doing that right now, which probably I am, but at the same time, I'm just trying to give, at least with Mercury retrograde, and Mercury is Hermetic, and it is the ruler of astrology, that to wake up here. Because one thing about the Sun and Neptune is when it comes to a conjunction point, it's like you're asleep. Or, as I showed you all, the staff or the trident or any of that, it's like that energy is malefic in many ways. And the Sun and Neptune are definitely, the sun is shining through a slide. Okay? So, think of Neptune as like a slide, and the sun being the projector of that slide. And there's a lot, while Mercury stopped retrograde, so it's not coming from logic, it's not coming from any kind of truth and understanding, it's still trying to understand it. Mercury stopped stationing, so it's not like it's really running the data correctly. The CPU has been dropped with water all over it. That's a microchip or a processor for a computer, if you don't know what that means. And then now in Aquarius, it's in retrograde, so it's in the air. The air's cooling all the water off, but like, and trying to get it off. But the sun is now going deep into this Neptune thing, and so our souls and our minds are in chaotic waters, and it's just whether or not you are going to fall into that chaos or not, or if you're going to let go and release yourself from the chaos into beauty. The beautiful part of Neptune is being, number one, you have to be compassionate to yourself that you fell victim to it yourself. And be okay with that. Two, you have to have a connection to some sort of God, source, spirit. And put that above everything else. Or are you going to let other people make the slide and you watch that movie? I recommend everybody at this moment for the next 3 days, and I know this is going to be and test you on the biggest element you've ever been tested in your life, but this is the greatest addiction for most people out there, to not watch any video, movie, TV, anything about the events of the world that we're all terrified about right now. Because it'll just, whatever's coming, like let's look at Saturday. We have Venus and Uranus. Now, this is a great transit. I like Venus and Uranus. Venus is in Taurus, its home sign, which I love. It's great. It's wonderful. because Venus is at its own position. It's dignified. It's going to help Uranus out. It's going to help the collective out. So we need to go towards love and feel good energy, okay? But what are they telling us everywhere else right now in the world and everything else, right? It's like, do everything that separates you to feel and everything that separates you from love, right? That's that slide. So here comes Venus, like, here, I'm trying to save the collective and bring you back, remembering that you're an all-powerful, beautiful being, that you should be loving and you should be feeling good. You should be doing things that make you feel good in life. But it almost feels like you can't go do anything because of that weird Neptune. But that's a 45-degree angle, all right? So that's a half kink. You can even see that in the glyph here. It's just a half kink. It's not like it's, like it's like a hose, right? Look, it's got a half kink. Doesn't mean the water's still not spewing out. Just means it's halfly kinked. It's halfly kinked. It's not the full thing. Okay? So what's coming is some way to crush you from loving and feeling good. That's what's coming. Here on Saturday and Sunday and Monday and even Friday. Because at the same token, that moon, if we actually go back to Friday, that moon's in Leo. It wants to go thrive and have a good time and have fun and love. But what is it doing? It's squaring over to that. And then what is it doing on Sunday or Saturday? Sorry. Sussy squaring. Look at that. That's a Sussy square. So one. It's a weird one. Over to Chiron and all that. And then it's quincunxing here. So we got Chiron, Sussy square, right? Oh, sorry. Let me back that up. Chiron, Sussy square with Lilith. And that's another thing, too, is you got Lilith and Chiron together, right? So there's this deep need to just want to see the world heal the way we want it to heal now. Like Lilith's pissed. She's like, I am not feeling good from this. I want to heal this thing now. I do not like the way this movie looks. Because remember, we're still in Pisces and we're at the end of this whole entire zodiac year. Because if we really are going to step from the delusion of time, I'm sorry, the new year was not January 1st, 2020. I'm sorry that the new year is always when the sun reaches Aries. So that's making a weird angle of the moon. And then the moon's quincunx Sun and Neptune. It's getting, are you gonna not allow yourself to feel great or inhibit yourself from feeling good because you're gonna fall for the movie? Or are you going to love this movie? And even though you don't want to love it, especially with the whole Chiron thing, you don't want to love it. You would rather have something else look some other way. There's some sort of sadistic weird thing here because of the Mercury retrograde stopped. That it's like you feel like, well, you can't even logically think straight because of the fact that, you're lost in the story. You're lost in this movie. Like, no. This moon in Leo needs to find some deep, deep courage here. To love and to feel good, because that's where this whole Venus-Uranus thing is right here. Here's where you can see the chart a little bit better. So love is the answer. The other thing too here is we do have a yod. It's some people don't consider a yod with an asteroid. I do. It's Juno. I love Juno. Juno is the wife of Jupiter. And Juno is squaring Jupiter. So there is another hidden mythology, aspect going on. Especially, I think, as part of the slide of the movie, is that people are starting to buy into the story that they can't find, their ultimate partner, or that that partnership and love and romance, especially with this Venus-Uranus stuff, with the semi-square over to the movie, it's like, are you going to let the movie inhibit you from the deep connection with partnership and the kind of partners that you want in life, or connecting with your partner, or you're getting lost in all that stuff? And that moon in Leo is trying to connect with that deeply, but it's quincunx, and so is Juno, and then then you got to add the other quincunx, because there's a yod to the moon with the Sun, Neptune, Jupiter over yachting to the moon. So we got lots of yods coming here. Let me read. This is just insane. Okay. This is what I'm trying to tell you all. And yods are fingers of fate. They're fingers of destiny. But, I was born with them. Do not be a puppet on a string. I was born with lots of them. If you guys notice, I'm like one of God's little puppets. You know what I mean? Like, I'm always like kind of, if you always notice, I'm like very puppety. Because look at these strings. Let's do them in yellow. So Sun, Neptune, 17, 18, exactly to that 20. Sun, Neptune, exactly to that 19. Moon, quincunx, Jupiter. There's the beautiful sextile of Jupiter, Sun, Neptune. And here's that nice sextile right here, okay? So what you get, if I add some color, is you have one yod here, and you have that one there, okay? And they're both pointing. That one's pointing up, and this one's pointing there. And what's the connector to all of them? Because the Juno's not connected to the second yod. It's the moon that is passing through that is even connecting all the yods. Okay? So when the moon connects the yods, it's different because it's rare. Right? The snapshot's happening at a fast moving energy. The fastest moving energy, believe it or not, is the moon in astrology. And if you take astronomy, the moon's always moving. You know what I mean? So, and it's in Leo. And this is a time for us to find our love and our happiness, and something's trying to distort that this weekend. Because even while we move forward into the day on Saturday and the moon keeps moving, it's going to not only do that, but it will quincunx to Pluto, and then it will quincunx to Saturn on its way out. And it's like, this is just not a weekend for you to inhibit yourself or find some sort of rule or authority or excuse to not live in your happiness and to not live in your love. And to not fall for this fucking bullshit movie shit anymore. And allow Lilith to make you feel good by going for the things that you want. And even though it might seem like that's impossible, that's where Lilith actually pushes the envelope. She goes, well, this is a fucked up situation, right? Like, but I'm still going to go get the fuck out of here. She's hanging out with Chiron. Chiron's like, oh, this is a crappy situation, but I'm a good person. Like, I'm a good centaur. I'm going to hold on to this shit. And Lilith's a little bit like, hey, Chiron, listen, bro. Hey, you don't have to hold on to that shit right now. Like, I know you've already kind of proven that you've gone through the hell, you've done all this work, you've held on to this energy you didn't need to, you've proved yourself. Why don't we get the fuck out of here for a minute and actually get to where we want to go? Because I'm not happy here, and you're not happy at this movie we're seeing. Why don't we actually go heal ourselves by living the movie that we want to go live in our life? And a lot of it has to deal with love. And everything that is coming out over this time period is going to be everything that is opposite that would make you feel love. Or, scaring you from love. Don't get too close to people. Love can be expressed in many ways, though. If somebody really is, you know what, You can still send them love and do good things for them and be there for them in some sort of way. But it's not about, turning this into like leprosy and being like, look at all those lepers over there. Like, fucking, fuck that. And remember that Mercury is in retrograde at 28 degrees. So that moon. Oh, hold on. That moon, not only when it passes through all those crazy quincunxes, is going to make a direct opposition to Mercury retrograde. So, it's like you're going to let these crazy things in your mind and these weird things that you don't understand affect the feeling of happiness. And the moon in Leo is stressed. It's got a square Venus in Taurus. And what's the stress of Leo and Taurus? Y'all know that's my signs, right? Y'all know I'm a sun in Leo rising, moon in Taurus. Y'all know what my stress is? When I can't feel the best of life and feel the love at the most valuable, most sensual, most beautiful thing in life. If I can't feel that, there's a problem. And so Friday, if you're going to make up your own excuses, especially from the movie, or anything just even inside of yourself, if you're not watching the movies, or watching the movie that's being projected right now, and you're going to not allow yourself to step into full love, you're not going to step into the ability to feel good, well, then this will be a pretty shitty time. This will be a pretty shitty time. I'm going to be real. But if you do step this into love and you do step in this into positivity, the other thing about Leo and, Taurus is, it's like what you have will make you happy. And unfortunately, there is a little bit of truth to that square, right? Like, especially, like, let's just take, like, money and what we're seeing with money right now in the world, right? That's a big fear of people, too, right? Like, will I have that? And if I don't, I'll lose my happiness or blah, blah, blah. Well, have you lost it all yet? I think that this is all about not falling so deep into the movie to where you're like, oh my God, I'm so lost in this fucking movie. And you start believing that you're like in the movie losing it when you haven't lost anything yet. You know what I mean? Like, it'd be like, oh my God, like I love my cell phone so much. This is Leo Taurus stuff. Like I love things that I have. Anything I have in my life, I love it. I'm always like, oh, I love Sprite. I love this fucking blue microphone. They're fucking amazing. They're cheap as fuck and they sound good. I can use it wherever I want. And it's USB. It's great. It's fucking like $40. But I love it. I love it. But then there's this false illusion and fear that somehow I won't have this anymore. But let's take money, for example. Like, I will not have my wallet anymore. For some reason, my wallet is just going to go fucking bleep. And everything in the wallet is just going to go bleep. And even so, do you think you've lost everything? Venus and Taurus is going to hold it down for us. So, whatever the movie is saying that this is gone, but I'm looking at it and it's not gone. It's in my back pocket still. Somehow. And even if, let's say, in my bank accounts, all the money goes away. The beautiful part of Taurus and why it's the most fixed earth sign is because there's a lot more on this planet and there's a lot more in your life than just money that you have. Not like your table's gone. It's not like this guacamole and salsa that I got today is going to be gone. Not like this cigarettes that I went and got and they only had hundreds and I fucking felt like I was fucking from some other, I wasn't, I was like hundreds. Got it anyway. There's way more things to lose than losing yourself and, oh, I'm going to lose. I could lose this, or I could. Everything is I could. And everything is just this outer movie thing that is feeling like it's on deep approach into your world at any time, but you don't know when it's going to be an approach. And so everybody's locking down right now in life. You see that through what we're seeing through the movie. I don't want to get into the movie, you know what I mean? But we're just seeing that because of all the Capricorn stuff here with Mars. And the Malefics are in the same sign, and they are ultra powerful right now because they are in their most powerful positions together when the Malefics get together. The only other time that the Malefics get together and they're the most powerful are in Scorpio, when Saturn's in Scorpio and Mars is in Scorpio. Because when Mars might be dignified in Aries, right? Well, when Saturn's in Aries, it's at its fall position. So actually, the Mars-Saturn in Aries is not that strong. Because Saturn can't control it. Can't control Mars. Can't control that little fucking crazy fucking warrior. You know what I mean? Like, it kind of reminds me of, Troy and you can't control Troy. You got to let him go out there and go kill whoever he wants to kill or do whatever he wants to go do in the war. Little William Wallace energy too, right? You can't control like William Wallace in Scotland, you know what I mean? Like he's Braveheart, like all the gnomes and all the fucking, I forgot in that movie, what was it? All the nobles of Scotland, and they were all, and I think his dad had leprosy, if you remember, fucking whatever the fuck that shit was. But yeah. He took advice from him and, betrayed him and all that. But, William Wallace said Braveheart. This is Braveheart shit we're all at right now. But I think that the biggest thing to help you all through this, because I'm going to just give you more and more data as much as I can, is that the South Node is with all these. So it's an illusion. I'm sorry to say. It's a fucking illusion. The South Node is a desert. So you think that the control powers are going to control. You think that it's all bad luck, Jupiter and Capricorn. You can't see any other path except the one that's not good. Why do you think Jupiter is not happy in Saturn's territory? Limited options. It looks like there's no options. There's no options anymore. My only option is this option. And you can take that in every account of your life. In any conscious space. Like, there's only this option from the movie we're seeing. From the M&M. Or in your relationship life, there's only this one option. In your money life, there's only this one option. In your personal emotional life, there's only this one option to make me feel good. And everything is only this one option. I only have one option. I only have like one, maybe two. And then when you start going into three, you're like, I don't know how I can do all three. I don't know if that's possible. I don't know if that's possible. And so this is creating the illusion of massive panic and fear with a Sun and Neptune conjuncting. Okay? I'm going to do, you know what? Fuck this. We're going to get real here, yo. We're going to make it look real weird. Okay? Like, hold on. Hold on. And then we'll add something. We'll get a little crazy. Oh, you guys aren't even seeing that. I just gave the Sun and Neptune this fucking. No, I don't do drugs. I don't drink alcohol. I don't smoke weed. I drink Sprite and I hit nicotine and I smoke cigarettes. And I have a fucking passion beyond fucking whoever's accusing me of doing drugs, beyond you're fucking passionate. Because I live in my heart. Crazy. You know what's actually sad too, on a personal note? Since I'm doing this thing out of my own, I'm not doing this for anything else but to help people right now. right? And it's like, how many people actually really think I'm just like in the back corner, just like getting fucked up all day or something? Or people just think that I'm like fucking smoking weed all day. Or people think that I'm just out fucking doing drugs. Or people just think that I'm drinking all day. Because that ain't that, dude. I'm coming up to 5 fucking years no alcohol. I haven't smoked weed since 2012 during the Venus retrograde in Gemini. So I haven't touched the snoot or any of the other crazy drugs I did since the 2000s, not even in the 2010s. I did do a little bit of the E in the 2010s. Not gonna lie. That's it though. So, again though, this whoever brought that up for the divine, right? Because why? What is this craziness that I have just shown you all here? Okay? What is this craziness too? Sun and Neptune is escape. So I don't know if y'all remember, I think it was Kurt Russell movies. It was like Escape from New York, Escape from LA. So then this other part of the fear becomes really extreme. Right? About wanting to escape. Now, I think the ultimate escape is love, which is not escape, but it is the true form of connection to the divine, which is not an escape. So bringing up alcohol, right? When you escape an alcohol, it's to feel good. You feel like you're connected to some spirit. That's why it's called spirits. And it fades away quick. But God's spirit and love's spirit, and they're all one together, never goes away. Now I'm going to finish this South Node thing. We're freaking people out, but we're really not freaking people out. We're freaking people out to get over this freak out. Because then you got the South Node of Pluto. So you got to see, like, well, add some color to make this easier to see here. Okay, well, let's do this. So you got South Node with Mars. We've already talked about that. This feeling that you got to do some intense warrior stuff to get through this, which is an illusion. Then you got Jupiter. There's not a lot of options. And then you got Pluto. It's over. It's done. This is just scary. We have not seen Pluto at 24 degrees, like I said, since the 1770s, especially I think 1772 and 1773, coming in 1774. Right before the Revolutionary War. And then you got this South Node here with Saturn. Uh-oh. The illusion of control. The illusion that the authorities have control. But let's be real. In this movie, if you really believe that it looks like they have any control, it's like... Mm-hmm. But what is this illusion if you add all this stellium all together? And especially because you have to remember, what's a little bit weird is Mars here is going to, over this next couple weeks, right, as it's finishing its stay here in Capricorn where it's exalted, is about to come over Jupiter, is about to meet with Pluto. And then Saturn's coming into Aquarius. We're going to get Mars and Saturn here, but they're not going to meet. We're going to meet in Aquarius energy. Because here we are, Saturday, March 7th. Okay. And March 22nd. So, truly 15 days away. Mars takes more than 15 days to get through half a sign. Especially as it's actually getting slower. As it's getting ready for a fucking retrograde in Aries this year in September. And it enters in and starts really slowing down in June. But you have to remember that you can go see Mars in the morning and stuff now. We didn't see Mars all 2019, remember? We didn't retrograde. So, let's go to Sunday, the day where things can get a little funky, and I hope I'm showing enough for people to realize a lot of this is illusion and to not freak out and to find love. But here we are. We're just going to go show you all right? So here we are on Sunday. Here it is, Sun-Neptune conjunct. So now the Sun and Neptune have really stepped in. But what's ironic here is, look at this. Uranus goes to 4 degrees. Now, that was the same degree that we just saw in 1935, which, if you watched this video earlier, I was showing you the Hitler stuff. I was showing you the 20th Century Fox deal. I was showing you all that kind of weird stuff. But the illusion is really out to get that collective, that semi-square, together. And here's Mercury at 28, stopped. 1 day away, 24 hours away from coming direct. Last day Mercury retrograde in full. Wow, the illusion's at its high peak. And here comes the moon. Dun, 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 dun. All right. Comes into Virgo, trying to clean up this mess, get back to reality a little bit here. And it's in great aspect with the node. North node in Cancer. Getting back to reality, getting shit done. But not losing it, not stressing over the movie so much. That won't do too well. The moon's going to trine over the north node. Sorry, the south node too. But the sextile there. But we do have a quincunx over to that Chiron. We do have it finishing that opposition, of course, to Mercury. But that's going to happen in Leo. And the moon's going to be trining over this Venus-Uranus. So if we feel love and feel the excitement of the future, of great things, positive things, things that we value, things that make us feel good in our life, and we bring that into our reality, we'll be fine. But if it's not from the movie, but if it's from the connection to a higher source, and you know what? The ultraviolet energy that is of Pisces is this ethereal energy at the top that is very high vibrational, very loving, very compassionate. When you mix that to all this, if that's the slide you're going to play, well, then I think that, you know what? This is a major test for the collective. It's a major test for you in your life. I think that this is a major test from God. This whole all this stuff we're seeing in the world right now during this Mercury retrograde. Of course, a Mercury retrograde in Aquarius. Not only in Aquarius, but in Pisces. That goes back into Aquarius. Of course, with the Sun-Neptune full moon. Of course, with this Sun-Neptune full moon in weird semi-square to Uranus-Venus, but with a beautiful trine that's building. With the moon. With the lunar node in Cancer, the north node, and the moon is that dispositor. So if you're going to fall for where Saturn is, with the south node, and fall in that, and fall with this story, because you got to remember that the Sun and Neptune have Jupiter now with a nice sextile, and we're going to see this full moon with at 19 degrees with Jupiter. Because that's what this full moon's about. Okay? This full moon is about, look at that, 1919. Look at that, Venus passing Uranus quick. Wow. Holy shit. Venus just jumps over Uranus. Just jumps on over. Like, wow. And it's aligned with the nodes of karmic destiny. And the moon is with Jupiter, 21. And Jupiter is with the Sun and Neptune. There's way more options. There's way more. But we have to find our discernment with Jupiter and South Node. And not believe in crazy beliefs. Which are delusional movies that are being showed through M&M. But believe that we can achieve, that we can reach the ultimate higher vibrational of love and disconnect ourselves from this movie, The Matrix, which, ironic enough, a full moon in Pisces or a full moon in Virgo, they're going to always have a sun or a moon in the signs dealing with the Matrix. The Matrix is Virgo and Pisces. This is you breaking out of the Matrix of this movie. That there is Jupiter that is here to offer you a way out. But it's only going to be through, since it's not that powerful there. And if we look at the only positions, there is only two, there's only two actual planets at their home energy, and they're making a semi-square. Venus at home in Taurus and Neptune at home in Pisces. And we are being covered with this with a hard semi-square, but it's not the hardest transit in astrology. It's a minor aspect. It's not a major aspect. If this was a major aspect and it was a long-lasting one, I'd be like, oh shit. But it's not. It's not. So the way that you break through this matrix is by feeling good and moving into the future and not moving backwards. That's the whole thing. Look at that. Uranus. It is a cross too, but it's upside down cross this way. It's telling you to look in a different direction. So when I showed you all earlier, Mercury, Neptune, well, Uranus, no cross. I mean, yeah, you can't cross it right here, so it is crossed. But it's telling you to look upside down because Uranus sits upside down. Sometimes you just gotta remind people to just fucking remember their science and that's the thing about astrology. It's fucking turned and tilted to its side. Why? Why is Uranus so upside down? Because there has to be something in the consciousness for us to fucking look at things at a different angle. Now, you can choose to look at this movie that's being done as this is a weird angle. You are right. But why don't you tilt it from another angle and look at the other angle to the forward vibration of a higher vibration that's going to take you out of that illusion and to the truth and to a higher, better place? And the one thing that we always deal with whenever we're dealing with any Uranian energy is we are dealing with an energy which is very Piscean. If you look at the logo, if the glyph here, look at the Pisces. It looks very similar. There's a cross, but they're together. But there's no backbone. There's no backbone to Pisces. Oh, sorry. I'm sorry. I'm used to Craig doing all this for me in the studio. So you guys got to give me a little break. I haven't done this kind of show since 2017 at my desk, like I used to do them. That's the problem is there's no backbone here to Pisces, right? And then that looks very Piscean, but it's not. But it's upside down. And when I don't know if I saw, because I don't know. I put Uranus here upside down. To see things upside down. To see things from a different angle. Because you have to. And I love, somebody said Mercury retrograde is an illusion. I mean, it is an illusion, technically. But on the other front, you have to remember that Mercury, when it stopped here during this full moon, is exactly stopped. 28:13, like it's stopped. And what we can do here is we can run a little astro gold here, and we can do it for what is that date going to be? March 8th? Or it's March 9th, I think. So March 9th, 2020. Go. All right. Now let's roll the hours. Boom, 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 boom. Full moon happens. Apex already done. But with a Mercury retrograde. So it could be this matrix thing that people fall into or fall out of and go, all right, I'm just going to hold the line here for a moment. And then, what do we see coming into the nighttime? Oh, is that Mercury direct? Oh, that is. Boom. There it is. 8:49 p.m. Pacific, 11:49 p.m. Eastern. Now, what is that going to mean? Well, I think there's a couple ways to look at this. I mean, I would say that, well, one, I think that we'll reflect back on the last 3 weeks and go, what the fuck was that? It is a full moon in Virgo trying to clean up a sloppy mess in opposition to Sun Neptune. A mess of a movie. A movie where, you know, things are very uncertain, unknown. And Venus and Uranus are trying to find quality of life, better life, and move into that, and not let the movie take away from that too. And one of the major transits here that I think is most important to pay attention to, which, don't worry, I'm on it. If I were to erase this real quick, all right, so you can get a clear vision of all this. Let's get you all nice clear vision. All right, let me get you that nice clear vision here. Hold on. Alrighty. This is what Virgo is doing to Pisces. It's like a chart. Look at it. It's like all these little specks everywhere. It's like, okay, let's clear this whole thing off here. Okay. Get those Swiffers out, everyone, this weekend in your soul to the movie. You know, it's like taking a shower, getting it off that yourself. Okay, all right. You have to remember that with the nodes at 5, what is it squaring now? Chiron. Now, a lot of astrologers out there don't use Chiron. The ones that do are real astrologers. The ones that don't, I'm sorry to say, they fucking don't know what the fuck they're doing. Because Chiron sits in between Uranus and Saturn. And let's do a little drawing here. I've been teaching the Love School Masterclass, which I'm going to do a selfless plug anyway right now. Okay. If you want to join and be part of my masterclass about love and how to attract the right partner and find out what the hell's going on in your love story or anybody else's love story, and you're sick of using these stupid apps like you know what, or Patternsy. Yeah, I'm sorry. They automatically put you in, you're fucked. No. Use astrology for real. I teach you it all in an 8-week course. Last Tuesday, or this Wednesday's course was 3 hours and 21 minutes. The one prior to that was 2.5 hours, and it's done like this. But I teach you it much more about your own love story, and I go much deeper. We give you PDFs. I give you things to practice on, and so you will always, forever, if you have an issue with your love life and you want to figure out your own love life and you want to figure out your own love story, it's like with me, and I am teaching you how to do it and with other people and about attracting the right partner and which ones are not the best for you, that you can use this guide for the rest of your life. And I am going deep, and I'm teaching you astrology, and I'm teaching you, if you don't know jack shit about astrology, you've never ran your chart before, I go from all the way to that, all the way to where forever you will know how to do this. That's why it's 8 weeks long, and we are doing 3 hours of every course pretty much. I'm literally giving you over a day's worth of content to ingest that, and with actual PDFs and so forth to help you with. So I think I came back in this kind of form and fashion because I've been teaching again. And when I am always in teaching, I just get more ideas. And the next thing you know is, bam, I do this stuff. But let's do a little bit of lessons here with Chiron and why an astrologer that doesn't use Chiron is, in my opinion, not an astrologer. And we are going to have some fun. Here's the sun. Let's actually go a little bit lower here. Okay, here's the sun. Here's Mercury. Here's Venus. Here's Earth. Here's Mars. Here's Saturn. Here's Uranus. We'll finish them. Neptune and Pluto. Okay? So they all go around. I'm getting a little Ptolemy here. Anybody who knows Ptolemy? All right. But what sits in between Saturn and Uranus? Oh, well, let's actually do this the proper way. Yeah, here we go. This will help you guys out. Oh, I'm not showing you guys. Oh my gosh. Well, at least it's all drawn. So here's the sun. Here's Mercury. Here's Venus. Here's the Earth. Here's Mars. Here's Saturn. And these are the rotations around the sun. And remember that Saturn is the last planet that you can see with your naked eye, right? Okay? So that's why Saturn has its rings around reality, its control around reality. And by the way, just for shits and giggles, Saturn hexagon. Okay, you're hexed by Saturn. What do black magic use? Hexagrams. That's why, you guys, I hope you know, I have Craig and he does all this, because imagine, I can't do it all myself. It's a lot. And so a lot of people always go, you should just not have a studio. And it's like, I'm trying to give everybody the information that's going to help change their lives the right way. Like, please show me another astrological channel that's doing this. Please, somebody. And then we'll have a nice debate. But until then, there is not. There is not. I'm sorry to say. And sorry that I'm getting all Leo on you all. I'm back. All right, here we go. Man, God smacked me in the ass on that one. So, I'm back. So I'm gonna, I was laughing because I had, I was laughing because I was like, what? Where's the planets right now? Oh, of course the moon's in Leo on my fucking sun right now. No wonder I'm acting like this way, but I got smacked in the ass for acting that way like a Leo. Leos, we get smacked in the ass for that kind of shit. You know? So, end of the day, though, at where we're at here is Saturn hexes. It'll hex you. And so, to get back to the drawing, to finish this off, why Chiron square the nodes is such a big deal is because of the fact that when we're dealing with Chiron square the nodes, remember that the last planet you can see with your eye is Saturn here, okay? But what's in between that is Chiron. Let's do it as an orbit like this, because it's between Saturn and Uranus. And what is Chiron? Well, Chiron's a key, right? Like, you got to remember that with Chiron's key energy here, that is the key to unlocking the vulnerability of the human being. Because why? Why? Well, if you're sitting between Saturn, which you can physically see, and then if you're around Uranus, which has a ring around it, which is upside down, and you're sitting in between that, what do you think this world is like that we live in? I mean, think about this, right? The world that we live in today, and that we have been aware of since we were all born, is a world in which we see this physical reality and then we feel this other side. We feel this connection, because remember that Uranus is, in the original mythology, the god of the sky and the way to get to heaven, right? Basically. Because Uranus is the closest to hearing God. Because if you really think about it, and they didn't have Neptune then, well, they didn't even have Uranus, but what's next is Neptune as you go up the ladder. So as you go up the ladder, you get up to this, getting up to Neptune. and getting up to this way higher, like, violet light. And then what do you get? You get Pluto above that, where that is the end of our solar system. And Pluto represents all those exoplanets that are at that dwarf planet area, right? Where we start to get towards the end of our heliosphere and exit the solar system and get to outside our solar system. So Pluto is that boundary line. And so the reason why, because when you get to that boundary line, it's like, whoa, that's pretty far away. But as a human, you are in a world in between these higher understandings that are really hard to decipher, very Iranian, and then this physical reality. And the key to unlock is the vulnerability that you are a human being that does not know everything. It's like in tarot, the Fool card, right? Because really Chiron is very Fool card-ish. And not in the sense that it's fun, but in the sense that you're in a reality that, you're trying to enjoy it, you're trying to understand it, but there's something off. Why don't I know what the hell's going on fully in this life? How the fuck did I get here? What the hell's going on? What the hell's this little dog doing here? It's cute. I like it. But am I about to fall off a cliff? Like, what the heck? Like, where the hell am I? But I am having a good time. And so, and if you understand Chiron, 2000. Okay. Oh, sorry. And I'm going to show you guys, I've done videos about this orbit before, okay? I was going to try and show some Chiron stuff that was happening in 2000, but we'll go into that later, 20 years ago. But when you understand Chiron's orbit, here it is in green, okay? And what's really interesting about it is it's with the planets. It's orbiting the sun like the planets, but its orbit is not true to form. Hold on. Well, one, it looks like a planet, but it's not. That's not Chiron, but hold on. Here we go. Chiron is definitely considered a minor planet. And so what's interesting is, let's do this. Well, I kind of liked that one. Let's do that. Let's do this. Let's do this. Let's do this. Thank you for everybody coming back too. I sorry that happened. I turned my fan on more. My problem was I was recording. I was recording this and streaming it, and I'm going to the app, and I'm going to YouTube in 1080, and I'm streaming it right now 9.5 megabytes per second in full 1080 to both platforms, to recording it to, and recording the stream and encoding to you all. I know that might sound crazy, but that's why High Vibe was built, because you will not see another spiritual network doing that. Please try and help me find one. They don't build them. They don't know how to build it. They don't know how to do it. Sorry, I'm getting all Leo on your guys' ass. Okay. So we got Chiron here. Man, this thing is just not having fun. There we go. Okay. So Chiron is kind of interesting. It's got ice on it. So it'll let that ice go when it heats up, and then it will freeze over with ice when it gets cold, because it, in the middle of it, Chiron, if you really think about it, is when it's closer. You remember, it's coming in between Saturn and Uranus's orbit, right? So it comes close enough to the sun to where it'll heat the ice off, and then it goes away from the sun, very Uranus energy, right? Very cold. But even though Saturn's kind of cold too, remember that they're both like, this is the kid of, if Uranus and Saturn were to have a baby, which we are in the physical reality life of this, right? And again, at the bottom of the key happens to be the same circle that Uranus's glyph has. But what's interesting is it does this hot or cold thing, which humans tend to do. It's a little bit bipolar, I'll be honest with you. But what's also interesting about the orbit here is, look at that. It reaches a place where it always intersects with the orbit of Uranus and the orbit of Saturn. Okay? There's an intersection with Saturn. Here's an intersection with Uranus. Orbit of Uranus in green. All right? So, you have to remember that the orbit of Chiron is not as big as Uranus's orbit. It's not as small as Saturn's orbit. It's actually just right, just in between. Right? So it's got that element of just being right in between that, right in the right way. So the problem with this, though, is that humanity is got these moments where we get really caught up in reality, and then we get really caught up in trying to advance forward, which we do, and then we get these huge restriction moments, these really major moments of like stop advancing and hold up and deal with physical reality and deal with it, and that's the whole wounding of every human being on the planet. Is life is always looking like it's moving forward, and then there's a big block, and then it looks like we break through, and then we're good. It's like traffic. Life is like traffic. Go, everything's good. No, wait, stop. Hardship, and then breakthrough. And then hardship, and then breakthrough. So, and you're dealing with both Saturn and Uranus, which, again, if I were to do this is kind of like, you know, people do this for devil shit or whatever they do, or they do it like that or whatever. You're dealing with Saturn and Uranus, which rules devil, which rules evil, which the opposite is lived or live or live, right? Which is the sun and the moon. Because you have to know that there's a hierarchy system in the zodiac. The massive hierarchy system. I just did this for the school, but I'm teaching it with love. But you need to remember that the sun and the moon that rule Leo and Cancer are at the top. Their best friends are Mercury and Mercury. And this is the way the planets come down. You got Venus, Libra, and Venus, Taurus, right? They're all happy. They all love each other. Then you cut in the middle of the chart. You get Scorpio, Mars, and Pluto. You get Aries, Mars. And in between that, you get Jupiter, the good luck that's holding down two malefics on each side. Because you got Mars here. Here, look at this. You got Mars here. Okay. Malefic, Mars. And then you got malefic Saturn and malefic Saturn. So you have two malefics at the bottom. Which is what? Capricorn and Aquarius, right? But Aquarius is ruled by Uranus, too, in modern astronomy and astrology. So you've got Saturn and Uranus at the bottom of the chart, which is red and which is like iron and which is like this physical kind of reality thing. And then we've got the ethereal of the king and the queen, the ethereal, the luminaries, the sun and the moon, that are the enemies of the king and the queen, that try to take down the king and the queen, that try to take down the light, because there is nothing that emits light here without the sun, and the moon's the greatest one that emits the light. It's the brightest besides the sun, and it is the mother, and it sits around the earth, and it protects earth, and it keeps it stable, even though it's an emotional one, but it's the womb, it's the mother. And the best friends are Mercury, because it is neutral and they know how to communicate the messages from the dark to the king and the queen. Or if it's good messages from Venus, or if it's great messages from Mars even sometimes, or Jupiter. It's got to be able to go to both sides. That's why Mercury goes to both sides. That's why every sun and moon or every king and queen has the page that goes in between. So, you got to remember that at the end of the day. And so I think that with Chiron, you got to remember Chiron is sitting in between this energy down here. Like, get it much clearer here. Here we go. Right? Doing it in black. So, humans are just always trying to get up to God and to the king and queen, to the king, right? The son of God. In Vedic, they look at the moon as the benefic. In Western, we look at the sun as the benefic. That's why both systems work. When you go into Vedic astrology, you're going in a moon-based system. They base everything mainly off the moon. And all the other planets, because the sun and the moon are the ones that are the king and the queen, and they're the ones that distribute out all the other planets, and they distribute out the understanding of them all, and the placements in your chart, or the placements in the chart of the sky, are how the other planets are all distributed out, and especially in tropical, that's how they're distributed out based on the sun's tropical ecliptic as it goes to the Tropic of Cancer and Capricorn, and it goes through the wave each year of the exact pattern that it does every year on Earth of the seasons. And then the nodes of the moon are connected with the sun and the moon. So Chiron is humanity trying to reach this great place, but it gets stuck between Saturn and Uranian energy. It gets stuck between, Capricorn and Aquarius, which is the dead of winter. And what's the opposite of that? Summer. And so our whole human existence in life is this nonstop quest to feel like we're in summer. But where are all the planets right now if we go back? Hold on. Where are we going to go here? Where was I showing you all? Chiron square. Chiron square. Where are all these major malefic planets? They're sitting right in between that space. Right? Oh, hold on. Gee, mini Christmas here. That's where they're sitting. Right as Chiron is square the nodes. Right as the sun and Neptune are meeting, the illusion in the movie, with a full fucking moon here that's trying to clean up a mess, but this is not an easy mess for this Virgo to clean up. Look at how much illusion there is of control, and Chiron is feeling like it's on the cold, dark side of things in many ways. Because is it really where you have to understand, like, if we do some really crazy astrology here, like if I take you back to 1965 and 1966, 64 through 65 here, and I take you back, let's take you back with Chiron's journey. Well, let's do 66, okay? In 66, you have Chiron with Saturn, okay? All right? So you have Chiron with Saturn. And what was that in opposite to? Uranus. So let's do space orbit calculation. Plugin not supported. I used to have this one that you could change it all to. Hold on. Maybe it's called, I'm right here. I'm just showing you all what I'm looking at. Space. Astronomy. Program? Or is it program? Visual? Here we are. Astronomy software. New. Visual Studio. Oh yes. Planetarium software. Oh, I don't want to do that. Or is it Google? Google Sky Map. Hold the phone here. Here, online. God, I always forget the name of this program. Anyway, you get to a position where in the 60s, I guess actually a better way to do this would be using a helio chart, which, hold on one second, folks. Stop mirroring that. Get rid of my iPad. Hold up here. Hold the phone here. Hold the phone. Leo King's getting all fucking masterful for you all right now. Because I got to go home soon in a minute. And I'm going to finish with this. And I'm somebody when I set my mind to things, I make sure that I get it done, you know? So. All right. All right, let me show you what I'm doing here. Transits. Yeah, edit birthday down. Let's do 1966. 1965 for shits and giggles. And let's run it as a helio. We want to run this as a heliocentric chart, all right? Oh, we got to add Chiron in there, fucker. Okay. And I like to run the deacons, and we want aspects to Chiron, and Let's make sure good old Chiron's in there. All right. Okay, so as you can see, Saturn and Chiron, we're in orbit together. This is the sun at the middle of the chart here, okay? So in the 60s, you have Saturn meeting up with Chiron, and that means Chiron and Saturn were meeting up. Now remember, Chiron was founded in 1977. But when the whole Great Revolution happened in the world of the 60s movement, right, you have this Uranus-Pluto conjunction happening in the sky, from Earth's point of view too. But you also have it in opposition to Saturn Chiron, right? So it was like this great revolution that was trying to get rid of the feeling that humanity has been screwed, and we need to be liberated, and we need to be free. And then what happened? Well, no matter what happens, there's always going to be a feeling that humanity can be free this life. Chiron was with Saturn. So there was a great wounding in opposition to that. So that's why the hippie movement didn't make it fully. It did enough to get us here, but it missed out on some sort of major mission, okay? Because if you just kind of, like if you take and you edit the birth data here and we go to like 66, okay, you're going to start to see, look at that. You see Saturn and Chiron here, okay? And in direct opposition with the sun at the middle to Pluto-Uranus. Exact. All right? Look at Neptune in there. So the illusion was there that it would work out. And it did. But it did have a mass healing that kind of was there. But this is where Saturn and Chiron meet. So why am I saying this? Is because now we're on the approach. If, like, let's take today, for example, right? So let's say 2020. Here's Chiron now. It's sitting in between Neptune, and it's sitting in between Uranus. So it's in a really weird space. It's really back out there in the way, way, way weird part of its orbit. Because if we look at the Chiron orbit real quick... 50 years around the sun. So the orbit of Saturn, when Chiron was with Saturn from the sun's point of view, was in the 60s, 66. This great revolution was happening. But right now, Chiron would be out here, and it's with Neptune behind it. They're not showing Neptune's orbit, but if you were to look, I wish I had the program. It's just like, I'm really, you know what I mean? It's like, online astronomy orbit program. Simulator online, Astro New. Okay. All right. There we are. Here we go. We want to add the dwarf planets. They got Eris in there. Ooh, look at this. This is having us get deep. Zoom. All right. Let's back out. Can you zoom in on this thing or no? Like, okay. So, let's back out a little bit more. Okay. Okay, there's Uranus and Saturn. They don't want to throw Chiron up in this bobo. Wow. No Chiron, huh? Well, anyway, so if we look at the planets today, here's the Neptune. Okay? I don't know if you can see my... You probably can't see well, you can see Neptune and then you can see Uranus, okay? Let me show my settings. Webcam, full speed. No, okay. Well, anyway, Neptune here. And there's the semi-square from Earth's point of view, right? As Saturn, or Neptune and Uranus, right? They're 45 degrees away from each other. Now, Neptune's behind and Uranus is faster, so we had a Neptune-Uranus conjunction in 93 when the internet really took off and so forth. Now they're squaring, so this is why the internet's kind of fucking us up too. There's a lot of things. I can go on for hours about all this stuff, but at the end of the day, right now, Chiron is in approach to Uranus, where in the 60s it was with Saturn's orbit. So because the orbits go, which I can't believe they do not want to show us now. Show me dwarf planets. Now. Wow, they don't want to show Chiron on here? That's like fucked up. Oh, I've used this one before. No, this is not Astro Gold. I'm just using online stuff. You know what I mean? Ooh, it makes you feel like you're all spacey. Shut up. Mm-hmm. Okay. Got it. Click the screen to run the model. Alright. Are they gonna show us? Dwarf planet show. Uh-huh. Clicked it. Galactic. On. Okay. Alright. Save. System. Best. Okay. Good. Alright. Sorry, I'm trying to make you guys have a good understanding of why. Full screen mode. All right. We're getting somewhere. We want Fahrenheit. We want miles. All right. Geolocation. Los Angeles. Okay. All right. Let's search if we can do with dwarf planets. Wow. They don't want Chiron anywhere. Fucked up. That's so fucked up. But we'll have some fun. And okay. So when we look around and we see the sun, and then today is March 6th now, and we start to look around, okay? There's the moon, right? Let's back this bitch out. Boop. Okay. Somebody's calling me at this early in the morning. Like, please don't do that to my show. I don't know who you are. Ontario. Please, whoever it is, if they're watching the show, don't call me. Here's Earth, right? Here's Venus. So we're getting ready for that Venus retrograde. Because if we start to move Venus retrograde over here in May and June, oh, there's a Venus retrograde. Boom, we're gonna see that fucking Cassini point, and then bam, all right. That's the illusion of a retrograde, right? It looks like Venus disappears and then reappears in a different position. All right? Like the Mercury retrograde. If we come back, there it is. All during these weird fears and all this stuff, right? Mercury coming here. We're in Pisces. Boom. That was when the moon and Mercury, right, conjuncted in retrograde. And then got really weird here. All right. Okay, so now we're here. And March 9th is when Mercury's direct. You know why? Because now Mercury doesn't look like it's going backwards anymore because we're coming around the turn. Right? So we're going with the speed now. And we look like we're going with Mercury forward instead of backwards because Mercury's turning faster. See that? All right? You can zoom in. All right. So let's back out now and let's see. We've got Jupiter, Saturn getting ready for their conjunction, right? That's a big deal. All right. Well, this thing is touchy. We got Mars in alignment with, if we come back here, with Jupiter, with Saturn, and with Pluto. Bam, 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 bam. And so you have to realize here that this Mars is about to cross all that with this malefic energy here and perfectly align here as Venus is going to get ready to come retrograde and Saturn is going to move into Aquarius, right? Bang. And get away from Pluto for a second in Capricorn. And then Mars is going to join Saturn in Aquarius. Now, if we were able to see Chiron, it would be in between. Okay. Yeah, here we go. It would be in between right now. Right? Right here. And so, I think it's in 2045. It's when we're going to see Chiron with Uranus. And Uranus rules the collective. And we're going to actually see over this next 25 years, humanity try to truly finally liberate and free itself because it did try in the 60s and it did not work. So, everything that astrology will keep showing you is that everything's going to turn out okay in the end of the day. Humanity's going to work out. We've been in a very, very confusing Mercury retrograde, a very confusing time with Saturn, Pluto, and especially Jupiter. And then the Jupiter-Pluto conjunction's coming here in less than a month. We're getting Mars and Saturn coming together, the two malefics. And we just had Saturn-Pluto on January 12th. That's going to last, eons. It feels like, at least. And you have to remember, like, if I come back to this, like, you have this galactic center point here, right? So this is the center of the galactic, right? So when you start to do this, right, this galactic energy was where, right here, when Jupiter, right, crossed the galactic plane, we had Saturn back here, right, in 2017. So when I started High Vibe, it was right when Saturn was coming into alignment. And what's crazy is you have to kind of come up and see where the line goes. I started High Vibe with the, because I knew, look at that, Saturn in November, when Saturn was exiting Sagittarius and coming over this galactic center. That's when I created High Vibe. And you have to remember that then we just had Jupiter here cross it, right? Okay, in 2019. And come into that alignment near the end with Venus. So remember Venus and Jupiter conjunction right here? From Earth's point of view, so that would have been right around here. Because from Earth, see that? It would have looked like we were conjunct. All right? So we've been in crazy times, though, since then. Because in January, of course, and of course, here's the solar eclipse time. Here's Mars. Not galactic energy center yet, but, getting into Sag and coming to that galactic center, because Mars is pretty quick here. And then it comes into Capricorn here, and it just becomes crazy with the retrograde and everything like that. And so this full moon here, which if we zoom in on the 9th, right? Let's move over. Gee, many Christmas this thing is. So here's the full moon. exact, coming up here, if I move this time thing to 10:42 a.m., bam, full moon, Mercury still not in retrograde, so we can move this thing, and at that moment, Mercury will come direct. So don't freak out. We've got Venus to do the first Venus North Node eclipse. It's not going to eclipse itself here in May and June, with the North Node moving. Okay, this is one of the most powerful parts of what's coming up here in May into June, is this Venus retrograde that is going to happen with the nodes of the moons, and we're going to get eclipse time, lunar eclipse energy. We're going to get a solar eclipse on June 21st. But a lot of this is a major moment. The reason why? Because the last time this happened was in 2012 with the South Node. All right, so there it is. Bing, bang, boom. All right. You're going to see this like June 2nd, I think, June 3rd. Yep, right there. There it is, the Cassini point. And that's at a time, too, where here's Mercury coming around really quick, right? To fuck with us in another retrograde there 3 months from now. It's turning faster, and that's the illusion, right? But it does this, like, turn faster thing. And Venus coming direct and being seen. And then here's the Mars retrograde getting ready to come. Because now here's Mars meeting. And so when you get this whole Mars energy meet, right? In September, boom. Why is it a Mars retrograde? Because we can see it. The sun is lighting up Mars in front of our face, and we are passing Mars. Because Mars is outside of our orbit. And now it looks like it's going backwards. In October and all that. And it's going to be in harsh squares if we look at all the Capricorn energy that way. Look at that. So Mars is going to square over to Jupiter, Saturn, and Pluto. So that's why I think we're going to have to like understand how to deal this movie well. Because if we go back to today, actual time, and we look at this sun, and we look at where it's at with Neptune, which is going to be right here, right? Here's Earth looking at the sun and Neptune. So if I move this now to what I've been talking about, Sunday, right before, boom, the sun is looking at the Earth. We're looking at, we can't see Neptune, it's behind, and it's using its trident weird energy right in front of us. We have Venus that is coming ready for its retrograde. We have Mars that's ready for a retrograde. So the Earth's about to come into a really weird zone. And then when, of course, you look over, it's very simple to look over and look at the biggest alignment we've ever seen in Capricorn here. And we have Saturn getting ready to come into Aquarius. But look at, and this is where the South Node is, and the North Node's over here in Cancer, which is going to be, well, the Earth's over here in Pisces and Virgo. So this North Node energy is right here, and the South Node energy is, right here. Like it goes like this. And they're about to change over with Venus, with a good North Node Venus, even though they kind of don't like each other, but they get it done. And the South Node getting out of energies with Saturn, Pluto, and Jupiter, which even though these guys are going to try and be stronger without the illusion, we'll see what the truth is in the spring and summer, because whatever we're seeing now is not the truth, and whatever we're seeing now is not really what's going down. And it's the illusion that is going down at the hardest we've ever seen it in our lives on this Sunday, because of the fact of a very basic alignment of the Earth looking at the Sun and Neptune. And it's extreme, and it's right when Mercury, boom, comes into its direct motion, right? So see that? So it comes into a zone where now Mercury looks like it's going forward in our view. So there's nothing to really fear here except fear itself and falling for the illusion, because look at that illusion, right? So we can't see Neptune technically, and you can't see it with a telescope, but nobody on Earth, unless you have a satellite somewhere else, is going to be able to see Neptune. There's no way. It's impossible to see Neptune right now, which makes it even part of the greater illusion that there is, right? We can't see Neptune. And every night that goes on right now, we can't see any planets. So people with telescopes right now can't see planets really at night. You can see Venus and the evening star. You could see Uranus for a moment. But that's about it, because everything else is in a position where the sun hasn't really come into its opposite form yet. And in the morning, sure, you could see, but the sun's going to blind it out. You can't see Saturn, Pluto, Jupiter, right? Like, you know, like Jupiter you can see bright enough when it rises in the morning, but it's still, the sun's going to blare it out too quick. It's not a long Jupiter. You don't see Jupiter for a long time. So we're at a really weird time. I'm sorry. And we're at a really weird time here. And it's a moment where don't fall for this illusion anymore, because there's no need to fall for this illusion. I mean, it literally is the greatest illusion of all time. I mean, that's exact. See that? Like, if I back out, right, to Neptune, like, direct with the Earth right there. Look at that. Bam. With Mercury coming online. And this is where people go psychotic over these next couple days, because let's just go days prior, and let's go to Friday, right? So here it is, the approach to weirdness, the approach while Mercury stopped in our view. And look at this Venus-Mars, right? Technically, we see Mars, of course, in Capricorn. We see Venus going into Taurus. We see the trine, because from Earth's point of view, it looks like they're trining. Right? Looks like they're making a great angle. Right? See how they're aligning? And they have actually Mercury. So there's actually this deep connection of Mercury trying to mix Mars and Venus of relationships. But that's ironic, because Venus is going to be aligned with Uranus in the opposite zone. So if you go right here during this full moon and you go like this, I guarantee you're going to see Uranus right there on the horizon line. It's going to be a little far out, but it's going to be right. Oh, there it is right there. So there's the Venus-Uranus conjunction happening from Earth's view. See that? Boom. There it is. So at the same time that we're getting an opposition to Neptune, there it is. There's the Venus-Uranus conjunction, and there's a beautiful, trine energy from Mars over to that Venus that's happened. But also at the same time, that quincunx energy I was talking about is Jupiter is a weird angle to the full moon, and that Jupiter is making a nice sextile to Neptune, and that's the yod. Right? So the yod is this weird angle that's forming a look at that Earth position, which will be the moon, which happens to be a full moon because it is exactly the other side of Earth. And so Earth's in the middle of that yod. And that's what makes yods crazy, is it puts the energy through the Earth in many ways, right? Okay, if I look at the butt of Earth here with the moon, and let's back out, right? A little back out, right? So, like, if the moon's being hit, it's going through the Earth. So, I wish they showed Chiron, but they don't. But see, like, you can see how some of these the reason why they're calling these dwarf planets is because their orbits are different. So look at how Eris is way lower. And so here's the ecliptic line of the galaxy, right? This purple line here? Okay? And so see how the planets are all pretty much in alignment with the galactic plane. But what's the most interesting is when you watch Pluto, which they're going to... Right? So here's Pluto. Look at how Pluto is not with the galactic. So why do you think every Scorpio likes to hide a little bit underneath things? Right? Because Pluto's energy, right, does come up once in a while to that. See that? Boom. 2019. We saw Pluto on the galactic plane with Saturn. Why do you think it's been so extreme? Let me zoom in here. Let me move the tilt of this. Let's look at that. Oh, they wanted me to keep going to the sun. I don't want to go to the sun. I want to go to these guys. But you can see at least the Pluto here. See that with Saturn? And when they meet on the galactic plane, they meet on the node of Pluto. Right? But Pluto is not one to normally meet on that plane. See that? 2014. See that? Way up a high. It was an approach that was all through this last decade that was just a destined moment in our lives when Saturn would come. 2019, look at that. January. October 31st, boom, boom, boom. And this is where the you know what happened. But it was also a major moment because look at the moon. The moon would always come and look at those and hide from the sun, right? Those two. And that's why it's been so tough since then. But you got to see that the break-off of June with Venus retrograde, and look at this. Pluto's on its way down all through the rest of the 2020s. So that's what I'm trying to show people here, is this is the moment, and it's going to peak out. And then, yes, it's going to feel like it might be with us for a while or whatever, this crazy movie, this crazy story. But I'm just here to give you guidance to show you, and I showed you through a physical form of it. I showed you through the astrological. I showed you through the helio. I showed you through the Chiron elements and understanding that. I wish I could show you Chiron on here, but we are a humanity that sits in between Saturn and Uranus. We're a humanity that is vulnerable. We're a humanity that gets the reality, but also gets this other side, and we're stuck in between. But we do have a key to unlock that, and that is through vulnerability. That is through being a true human. That is being through allowing yourself to take on life and realize that you're not some weirdo because you're here on this planet, but to find the beauty in it and to do something good with it. And that's the key to unlocking life. And so humanity and wherever your Chiron is and how to deal with these extreme moments right now in life is through Chiron and knowing the sun and the moon in your chart, because those are the king and queen, and Chiron is not part of the planetary cycles. It is on its own. It looks weird. It's on its own orbit, but it sits in between that weird space. And it's all about you as a human being to know wherever your Chiron is, how you deal with this reality. For me, I have it in Gemini. So for me, I deal with my healing through communication. I do it through laughter. I do it through doing two twin things in my life. I do it through stimulation. I do it through staying around the same environment. That's why you don't see me travel a lot. That's why I'm not like a Bali person, or I'm not a spiritual person that just wants to go travel the world. It's Gemini. I'm here to do the work at the same place so I can keep delivering the same information, or it's different information, but the same way in the same environment all the time, or I would be bad at it. Computers, right? Like you can't master something in Gemini unless you do it a billion times and you do it really well. But if you're a Sag energy and you're just traveling all the time, you learn a lot of knowledge and gain, but sometimes it's too much and then you don't know how to apply it into like a little daily thing. And that's where the North Node is coming, is in Gemini. So this is where we all are also feeling like we're being squeezed into a little world or little compartments of the world and all this stuff. But it's for you to master whatever it is and understand the universe better, because all these people that are going to go out and try and travel right now the world with South Node coming into Sag on May 5th, don't keep doing travel right now. Don't keep going exploring too much. You're going to have some really hard pitfalls there, especially with Neptune squaring it. You'll feel lost. But if you're in alignment and you find your master craft of understanding your reality and understanding how to be a master at something by communicating it, by understanding the environment you're in, by understanding the world and what we're in, that is the understanding of Mercury and Hermetic, and the understanding of alchemy and the understanding of astrology. And that is where the universe is asking us to go, and that's where Venus retrograde is, and that's a Mayan thing, and that's 8 years ago since 2012's Venus retrograde, which was an eclipse. I've gone into a lot of this stuff. All I ask for you all to do is all check out highvibe.tv, because this is stuff I do every day. I do a daily video. I do weekly videos, your sun sign videos. We do a lot here. We do Deep Love Tarot for you. We do Deep Astrology. We do, we used to do After Dark. I'm recasting that. We do Full Disclosure. We just had Kim in here who did a new art show. We we are nonstop over here, and we are doing everything we can to give people the truth and the information and the love and the light. And all I ask for is, especially with all this crazy stuff out there in the media and the world, like, if you're going to choose to watch some media, I'm just asking you to come maybe check it out over here. I know that everybody, you know, is like, well, I got my Netflix, or I got my Disney Plus, or I got this. And I'm just saying, and I'm not trying to say that that stuff's bad, but I'm just trying to say that, are we manifesting those movies into this real life? And do we really want to see those movies? Or do we want to see these ones that we're connected to the reality more, and with love, and we are understanding of the things that are going on, and we are connecting it to God and to a divine? And that's what High Vibe was built for. And I just appreciate you all for just always supporting me as the Leo King for all the years I've done this. And I just wanted to give this video out there to let you know we're all going to be okay to fall out of this movie and this illusion. I just showed you Pluto dropping off the ecliptic of the galaxy. I just showed you it met with Saturn. Yes, it's got it will last. It will be, but we are moving away from that. We are moving away from so much energy, and we do have a weird Mars retrograde coming in September that will confront a lot of these energies, and they won't have the illusion of the South Node there. So if it was my prediction, it's about being more prepared for what's about to come through September and October, especially October there. It's going to be pretty intense with the Sun in Scorpio, sextile with all that stuff, and trying to go against a Mars, and Mars at its home sign. We haven't seen a Mars retrograde since August 88 in Aries. So I'm just trying to prepare people every time and give you guys as much preparation. Watch Age of Deception. It's free. It's on YouTube. Watch Rising Through the Darkness. I called this all out. I gave everybody for 5 hours all the secrets to get and rise through this darkness energy, and it's there for free. It's on YouTube. And I would just love if people shared that video. It's amazing on how that video, I'll put 5 hours into something. I will do a 5-hour lecture, have people come, give everybody the secrets of understanding and all the predictions that came true about this all event happening that we just saw. And yet more people would rather watch, Deep Love Tarot, which is a great show. I enjoy it. It's fun. I love it. Don't get me wrong. And I don't want people to stop watching it, but it's just amazing that more people would just want to watch their quick hit to see what's going to happen about their zodiac sign and what's going to happen about that, instead of looking at the stuff that really matters right now in life on the deep part, although the love stuff does. But I think that it's like, I'm just asking you to take a look at it, because it's been all these years and all this work and all this research and all this applying it every day and doing a daily video every day since 2012. And I just think that this is a time for everybody, if you all want to really wake up to this moment. Like, that's what this network's about. That's why I'm here at 3 in the morning, almost 2:30 in the morning right now, doing this video with you all, because I know by God I was supposed to do this video for you all at this moment, and to not have you all fall into the weird shit that's going to come out over the next 72 hours before this full moon. And when this full moon happens, it's going to be a sloppy mess that's got to be cleaned up, and you got to clean the mess from your own consciousness and inside your own consciousness. So, and that Love Masterclass, if you want to learn love, so if you love Deep Love Tarot, it's an 8-week class. 2 classes are done, so you can watch those other 2 classes. You don't have to be part of the live webinar part, but the classes are up. And so you can go to theleoking.com, or you can go to highvibe.tv and click on Love Masterclass and sign up and be part of it and already start watching the videos. And you have access, and then the webinar link's there and everything. So I appreciate you all very much. I thank you so much for just being part of this with me, and and everybody here at High Vibe, and everybody on High Vibe, and Jax's daily videos, and Tamara's daily videos. And we really just, it's a team that truly cares. It's a team that truly wants the betterment of humanity. And there's so many other people involved. We have Anne, we have just all these people that are here every day that are just thinking about you and thinking about how to bring it. And we go through the crazy shit that you go through, but having to remove that, having to see through the veil, having to get to the information and bring it out and put it out, it's about whether or not you have the money or not, spreading the message for us, or supporting us and being part of the app, or in watching all the daily videos and being part of all the shows on High Vibe, or just sharing all this stuff out as much as you can, because this is how we stay alive and how we are going to be able to do this stuff constantly. So I appreciate you all, or being part of the school. And that's why I felt called to do the schools, because I want to help people with their love lives. And at the same time, I got to keep the lights on. So it's like doing the things that I know how to do. And we're all doing that. And we're all doing it in any way. And anybody that I believe in, I support 100% in my life. And I put it all out. And I give all the info about what they taught me or what they inspired me with or whatever. And I just feel that right now we got to all come together and we all got to help each other. And we got to spread these kind of messages out there to the world right now. And we need to get out of the fucking hypnosis that's going on, because the M&M is not the feeling that we want. I love you all very much. Thank you so much for being part of this, being part of HighVibe.tv, being part of the Leo King. Of course, Facebook, and with all these lives. And wow, it's crazy. 2:30 in the morning here, and I got 1,200 people in here right now. But just I love you all, and we'll see you on the next show. You know, we're always here. We're always doing our thing. And, you know, I don't know. What was I going to say? I was going to say, I love you guys. So we're going to be good. And adios.